I'm Glenn McGinnis, and this is Outburst. On the program, are you concerned about the evolution of AI technology?
Yeah, it's a huge concern.
I think there's valid applications for it.
So I'm excited about the development of AI instead of being really concerned.
In part, I worry if we're already too far gone.
But first, allegations of foreign interference have been dominating the headlines in this country for weeks now. These allegations range from election interference to Chinese police stations operating inside of Canada to the family of Conservative MP Michael Chong being harassed by the Chinese government. As a result, Canada has expelled a Chinese diplomat based in Toronto, and China has responded in kind by expelling a Canadian diplomat based in Shanghai. But are these measures too heavy-handed? And is there another way to deal with this dilemma? We took this question to Canadians.
Should Canada expel Chinese diplomats over foreign interference allegations?
There's a lot of stuff that goes on behind closed doors that we're not aware of. Generally speaking, it sounds like a very extreme move, but I'll leave this to the politicians. I can't really take a decision for them.
No, I don't think they should. Everyone plays the diplomatic game, and actually it would be economic suicide for us to do this. We've already seen what China can do with the wheat. If they decide not to buy tens and thousands of tons of wheat, but at the same time, one must also take note of what's going on. So, economically, China is the big dog. So if they want to impose economic sanctions upon Canada and not buy our minerals, not buy our wood, and not buy our agricultural products, maybe a conversation could be had a little bit more behind the curtains. But at the same token, perhaps if a society is doing wrong and spying or influencing, there should be repercussions. So I don't know. China has a lot of economic clout.
I think it's a security concern, right? I think it's the right decision to, go ahead and expel him. But on a different note, nobody knows the nitty-gritties of it, how inside things happen. But I think it's the right decision. I think diplomatically, you need to have your country on top, everything aside.
As long as I've lived in Canada, Canada's always been about peace. And, and just like with the stuff happening in Ukraine, I'm pretty sure Canada has reunited and has been there for them and sent our troops to be there to support them. So definitely, I think they need to, if that's what's going on, they need to cut it all off with China. Although most of our products are from China. So it's a little bit of a subjective topic.
Yes, 100%. I think that any foreign influence in our politics needs to be dealt with, especially given a country like China that's been hostile towards Western interests for so long. I think that, we look at what happened. I don't remember what the company was called. This was back when I was born. There was a company that Chinese secrets were sold across seas, and it just tanked everything and tanked our economy. So just in the interest of having that not happen again, I think it would be better that we just make sure that people are in it for Canada if they want to be politicians here.
Definitely. I think, they're on our turf. They should abide by our rules, and they shouldn't be sticking their noses into our affairs.
We, and I say we as a collective we in Canada, we have a duty to not just to ourselves, but to our allies as well, that we make sure that our ship is tight, and we do everything we can to make sure that that we are a safe, free democracy. Okay, and what's happening right now, I'm disappointed with the lack of direction and the lack of policy from our government.
I agree with that, yes, and I think all these rules should be set up in advance so that everything's on the table and different people know what steps are going to be taken when certain things happen.
Yes, I think so. Because they're interfering in our elections, and they shouldn't be. It's our internal affairs. They shouldn't have anything to do with it.
I'm going to go with no, simply because I think cutting off communication is never a way to solve a problem.
I think that's tricky. If they're allegations, then I think we need some solid proof, but I've heard about this and I've been following a little bit, and I think that there's probably enough evidence that we need to deeply investigate what's going on and pursue that. rigorously.
Absolutely. Yeah. Why? We need to take democracy very seriously. We need to protect our citizens and protect our politicians, and we can't have a foreign government interfering in our political affairs and in our daily lives.
I think that we're noticing more of this with the government of China just kind of infiltrating their political systems on ours, and until they're a free country and that they take democracy seriously, I think we need to be very careful with their influence.
Kind of, sort of, yes, but it impacts a lot of other things. So,
I think it depends. You have to have the evidence in order to expel, and without the evidence, it's kind of hard to just expel not only Chinese but any other country, right? So, but if they're doing something wrong, absolutely they should be expelled. Tit for tat.
Over the past 30 years, the obesity rate of children and youth in this country has tripled, putting them at risk for a multitude of mental and even physical health issues that could persist or even worsen into adulthood. Canada is releasing new guidelines to address the issue, which includes early intervention. MPs are also debating a bill which looks to outlaw advertising sugar to kids. So what ideas might you have to tackle this problem head on? Our question.
What is the best approach to tackle childhood obesity?
Education. I think a lot of parents in particular are not really fully informed about maybe the products that their children are consuming, maybe not necessarily fully aware of the implications of some of the diets that they may present their children with. I'm a big fan of paternalism, so I think parents do play a major role in that, in raising their children fairly, properly. And education, I think, on the parents' part is probably the best way to tackle something like childhood obesity.
We've got that's a good one. Yeah, we have to build more facilities to to encourage children to be more active, but it also has to start in the school. We used, we don't have enough recreation programs in the school. And it's got to start from when they're little kids too, that the parents are involved in taking them to different activities.
Yeah, I mean, I think it largely probably starts at home. I have a 12-year-old son, and making sure that he's engaged in doing physical activity that he enjoys doing, and understands different eating patterns, and not villainizing like junk food, but also promoting good food.
In my opinion, I think phys ed should be every single day within the school curriculum. And I think, tablet time, there should be restrictions on how much kids are online using technology. Of course we all, even though things have gotten more dangerous overall, we all look back at those olden days of playing outside and being with the neighborhood kids and going to the park, and there isn't that freedom. I feel like that doesn't exist as much anymore.
First of all, you need to change the approach about the commercials. That's a big one because it's very tempting for the children. Second, the parents might try to do something with the kids, try to have them eat better as opposed to chips and stuff like that. I eat that. Whoops. Yeah, but not the kids because they're too vulnerable to stuff gets on television and to their peers also, so yeah, they really do need to pipe down on this eating habits for the children, so that way they'll be healthier.
I think there's a really wide option in order to actually tackle that. A lot of people are born with genetics that just make them bigger. A lot of people are born with genetics that make them smaller, like me. But with that being said, it all depends on how active you are, what you eat, and really just how your mentality is. Some people, they wake up in a day and they go, oh, I just want to eat everything just because they're bored. Some people want to not eat anything. But I think in order to specifically target childhood obesity, I'm not quite sure what you would actually do with that, but I think there's more than just one specific reason.
I have something I can think of, I guess. Like when it comes to food additives, stuff like that, you can think of seed oils, high fructose corn syrup, anything like that that's added to all of our food, like oftentimes without us even knowing. I think cracking down on that, getting more laws like in the UK would probably be better, just because there's a lot of stuff that's just actively bad for us. We know that, and companies use it to cut costs, and it doesn't necessarily need to happen, as we know, because it didn't always used to be like that. So,
Man, that's $1 million question. Because it's part of the system too, and so, there's also the issue that it might be the only affordable things for families in precarious monetary situations too. You know, sometimes like a macaroni and cheese is more affordable than a meatloaf. You know, so that's hard. For sure, it's going to have to be a monetary involvement. I wouldn't say the government, because every time you tend to help out monetarily through the government, someone pays on the other hand.
You can only regulate so much, and at a certain point it becomes the responsibility of the parent to say, you know, we're not eating this, and actually take enough concern to say, oh, why is my child so large? You know, well, that's food. Let's look at our food. So at some point, you know, government can only go so far, and parents really need to just be parents. So oftentimes parents these days are trying to be more friends to their children, and children need parents.
Absolutely. I think it should be tackled from multiple different angles, including education, supporting Canadians with resources and options to be healthy. I think it's not just diet, right? It's about the urban planning as well, and having healthy cities, walkable cities, bike lanes, like things like that are really important for families and kids, in addition to making sure that in schools and in a kid's like day-to-day life that they're not targeted with, you know, unhealthy content.
Education through the schools, through community organizations, and through parents. Give the parents knowledge, then the kids will get their wisdom.
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, it probably would be helpful to try to limit advertising of things that we generally accept to be unhealthy, like high sugar, high fat products, or you know, restaurants or that kind of thing. Perhaps shouldn't be so targeted to children, especially on child-specific channels and forms of entertainment.
You know, teach kids, you know, just the basics of nutrition, and you know, just sort of don't introduce processed food, fast food. It's kind of just where it all starts. Sugar, mostly.
Which former Prime Minister is credited for negotiating the Canada-US Free Trade Agreement? Pierre Trudeau, Brian Mulroney, Jean Chrétien.
I would say possibly Jean Chrétien.
Mulroney.
Trudeau. Chrétien. Mulroney.
Pierre Trudeau.
I have to go with Jean Chrétien on that one.
Brian Mulroney.
Absolutely right.
Yay!
Good for you.
Thank you.
The Canada-US Free Trade Agreement began negotiations in May of 1986, and a deal was reached the following year in October of 1987. In his first term as Prime Minister, Brian Mulroney favored closer economic ties with our neighbors to the south, aimed at eroding many of the trade barriers between our two countries. But many Canadians opposed free trade with the U.S., and it was a major issue during the 1988 federal election. The agreement finally came into effect on the first day of January 1989. It became the foundation of the deal, which included Mexico, and became known as NAFTA, which came into existence in 1994.
Artificial intelligence, or AI as it's more commonly known, has been evolving rather quickly in recent years, and some feel the social and economic impacts can already be felt. Generative tools like ChatGPT, for example, can act as a personal assistant, and some feel artificial intelligence could end up replacing jobs in the years to come. But hold your horses here. Some people are actually predicting that artificial intelligence will help people improve their skills in the workplace and enhance the workplace economy. So we took to the streets to ask people if they're feeling okay about AI. Our question:
are you concerned about the evolution of AI technology?
No. No. I don't know. I don't think it's going to take off the way people anticipate that it's going to take off. I still think there's a huge need for real people in our world, and I don't think it's going to take off to a concerning level, in my opinion.
Just wrote my cover letter for me for a job. So, but yes, that is a concern. I am using a lot of the benefits right now, but for sure the future looks a little scary. Yeah, but I'm going to use it. I'm going to utilize its benefits for right now.
It kind of blows my mind that you can get AI to write you your paper in high school. It makes me worried that people are not going to do things for themselves as much and possibly lose out on jobs for people too. It just seems like maybe helpful, but also maybe terrifying.
Yeah, and for me, similar. I think AI kind of, well, if you look at what it's done for artists already, it's taken away a lot of their creative purchase and a lot of their way to interact and produce in society. I don't want to say AI is necessarily a completely bad thing, but I think there's a lot of deep ethical questions that need to be asked around the use of it, and I don't see those questions being asked. So.
We're seeing this explosion of AI technology way faster than we're able to control it, and way faster than we're able to regulate it, especially with the expansion of the internet and stuff like that. There's just not really any way to regulate exactly how things are being made and what we're doing with them. And that really concerns me, and it really freaks me out. And in part, I worry if we're already too far gone, but I don't want to say that because I feel like that's a very negative way to look at things.
I think there's a balance in terms of where AI fits. It's not going to go away. I think it's going to continue to grow, and a lot of jobs are going to be displaced as well because of AI.
When you start passing off something that a computer did 99% of the work on as something that you did, that's where I start to have issues with it. Like if you're just saying, hey, here's this cool thing my computer made, that's fine. But if you start to take more credit for it than that, I don't know how I feel about that.
I think we should embrace it. I think it's part of it. It's definitely concerning with a lot of stuff that could go wrong with it, but I think if we stop fearing it and we start to embrace it, I think it would just unlock a lot of good stuff for the world. I mean, there's always something that's going to go wrong, and when you look at the potential of it, it's fascinating, it's amazing, and it's like a gateway into, you can see what the future is going to look like, which I think it's just something we should be like open-minded about, So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has the potential to trim a lot of the fat in administrative jobs. And, some people may think that's a bad thing because you're getting rid of jobs. But at the same time, when you're increasing efficiency, I don't think that can ever be a bad thing. So.
Well, I think we have to be concerned about anything new in technology. But at the same time, this is how things progress. We have to embrace new technology when it's there and maybe put in safeguards to make sure things are controlled properly and don't get out of hand, but we can't stop the advances. I think it's important.
Yeah, it's a huge concern. I think that well, first of all, it's in its infancy right now, and but we have nothing right now that in terms of like not just in regulation but how to regulate it, like no one really has a policy or anything like that in terms of that, because by the time you make a policy, it's going to evolve in a way that that policy is just not going to be relevant anymore, and it's just going to continue to evolve. So, I am concerned.
But yes, I'm concerned. I don't know what we can do about it because once you let the cat out of the box, it's like dynamite. It just progresses to nuclear power, and but yeah, I am concerned because pretty soon we're not going to be able to tell, what's real and what's not. And, did a human think of this or did a machine? It's probably already that case in numerous incidences already. So,
am I concerned? You got the right person. I'm very interested in the AI technology. I wonder if it's like the steam engine was, or the lathe was to original industrialization, and whether that will cause a lot of, artisans like the loom, people who used to be able to weave went out of business. And I assume that'll happen again with AI. No, it'll probably bring more growth and more wealth. So in the long run, I'm not concerned. In the short run, yeah, of course.
I'm not, actually. I think it's progress. I think it's something that is a logical next step for all of us. I think we can benefit a lot from it. Not only from the capability, technologically speaking, but also because it's not going to be biased. It'll be completely logical in its decisions.
A little bit, because you don't know what direction it's heading, and there's so many different industries that it could be impacting. So yeah, it is becoming more of a concern, something I wouldn't have been thinking about 2 months ago, but yeah.
And specifically from medical purposes, right? Artificial intelligence can detect those kind of things which we can't detect, right, as a human being. So I believe that's the first thing. As well as from the IT perspective, right, the code which we cannot write, but artificial intelligence can write those kind of code and logics, right? So then definitely I believe AI is much better and a good thing for our future. Yeah.
It's not the right question because I'm working IT. So I'm excited about the development of AI instead of being really concerned. It definitely has implications and we need to be responsible, but it's like any other technology, it's more inevitable.
To be a member of parliament in this country, one must be at least 18 years of age, but there's no maximum age to be prime minister. At 74, Sir Charles Tupper was Canada's oldest prime minister on record, way back in 1896. In 1979, Joe Clark was sworn in one day before his 40th birthday, making him the youngest. But in the US, where the next presidential election is fast approaching, the conversation has come up about the advanced age of both President Biden and his potential rival, former President Donald J. Trump, who are both approaching their 80s. But here in Canada, should there be a cutoff point in terms of age for the highest office in the land? Our question.
Should the office of Prime Minister have an age limit?
Yeah, because it's understandable for all the amount of money that's put into towards campaigning that they want to try and get that campaign representative to office. And it would be unfortunate to see somebody in Joe Biden's age category only survive for a year or so, and then you've got to do it all over again. So I think that, yeah, having an age restriction is probably a good idea. Maybe no more than 80. And then go from there, because it's not just the individual, it's also the party.
No, I don't think so. I think old people like me are still capable of being productive contributors to society.
I don't think so. I think it's just based on whether people can do their job or not. That's it.
Age doesn't matter. It's what you've got in terms of experience and between your ears. You can't just be a figurehead for something or somebody.
So as far as Canada, I don't believe we should have an age restriction, but we should have parties that are willing to, how would you put it, consider that when they are selecting a leader.
What?
So,
what does that even
well, it means Joe Biden, who's running again in the States
Oh.
at age 80, should we have a cutoff like that? And no, I don't think so. I think we have to understand that it depends on your abilities, and you can be a healthy, smart 90-year-old and still do a good job. So it depends on the individual.
To me, it's really not about age. It's about, are they qualified for the position, right? I think you should have some real appropriate background to hold political office, and to me, that's more important than age.
85. That's old, but many people in the past, many aged people in the past, have done quite well in government. Depends on their cognitive abilities. We all know when someone's making sense or when they're not. Joe Biden's a good example. I still think at his age he's making sense. It's a tough call, but there should be a limit. I think 85 is the limit.
Part of me wants to say no, there should not be any kind of ageism built into the office of the Prime Minister, but I do see that generally politics is skewed towards older, more experienced people running for those positions, and it would be great to get more young voices into politics, but I don't know if just a age cap is the way to do it.
I think in general there should be an age limit. Yeah, we're starting to see that in the US right now. That age thing and that topic is coming up, but there's a validity to it. I definitely think there should be term limits. For members of Parliament and members of the Senate. I mean,
having these relics who've kind of outlived their time. Some of them aren't even showing up and they can't vote, and it causes all sorts of problems. So yeah, I think there should be an age limit and a term limit.
I don't actually think that it should. I think that the electorate is smart enough to recognize that, there are some people who are in their 40s you don't want to elect as a prime minister, and some people in their 70s that you do. And I'm happy either way. I mean, I have no preference on. I don't think that any particular age is magic or special. I think that the competence of the individual is the question at hand, and I don't think we need legislation. I think the electorate can figure that out.
No.
Why not?
People are 90 years old and they're still driving cars. So, as long as you have your marbles, you have everything up here, there shouldn't be an age limit.
I don't think so, no. I think there's probably a range of ages, and I think someone who is technically younger could end up being less qualified than someone who is, might seem on paper to be quite old. So I'm open to a variety of ages.
I think so. I do think so, because I think that I'm older, but I think that younger people bring in some fresh ideas, and I think that they could have like some of their cabinet maybe older, that would give the prime minister a different view, a sense of aging view as well. But I think it's better just to have a more of a youthful prime minister.
I think so. I think at a certain level, the human mind probably deteriorates more so than we'd like to think. Not necessarily saying that age isn't a key marker for wisdom in an individual, but the physical limitations of the body tend to probably bear down on somebody over time. And I think things like stress affect people more often as they get older, and more harshly as they get older. So maybe not necessarily an age limit per se, but at the very least, it should play a consideration into whether or not a candidate is fully, physically healthy for a role as important as that.
Thanks for watching this episode of Outburst on CPAC. If you have any comments about this show or any other show, you can find us on social media. You can also find us on our website at www.cpac.ca. I'm Glenn McGuinness, and on behalf of my colleagues at the Cable Public Affairs Channel, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.